Hello, I'm Isabel Buck, and this is my video for my concept design proposal, for which I designed a device targeted at play.
Spent about an hour observing my environment, paying close attention to the surrounding sounds. I mostly heard typical summer evening noises such as crickets, geckos, and the occasional cool breeze, but the atmosphere this provided was really warm and soothing, which gave me a sense of the atmosphere I want to replicate in my own design. Inspired by the examples shown in class, such as the piano staircase, I decided on a public installation as opposed to a personal device, as I really like the collaborative aspect of public installations. Initially, I played around with the idea of an interactive handrail that would respond to the touch of users with sound, but while I liked the concept of this device, the design itself lacked aesthetic appeal. For the third activity, I observed acts of self-care, mutual aid, and playfulness. Most influential to my design was the acts of play I observed at South Bank. There's this Brisbane sign which people are climbing on and taking pictures, most of which was presumably tourists. Personally, it was the first time I noticed the sign, as I don't usually pay close attention to my surroundings while at South Bank because I'm so used to it already. For this activity, I was able to establish a target demographic, being tourists and international students. The atmosphere overall was carefree and warm, which I also hope to replicate in my design. So for this activity, I researched playful behavior in adulthood. Research found that play is an instinctive human behavior in both childhood and adulthood, often used as a coping mechanism as a means of reducing stress. However, play is deemed socially unacceptable in adulthood, as adults are expected to be productive both at work and at home, which often leads to suppression of this instinctive drive to play out of embarrassment. Research also found that the most playful individuals were extroverted, sociable, energetic, and unpredictable, which enabled me to target a specific audience in order to create a more effective design. So for this activity, I had to reimagine my device, including other sensory elements such as touch, sight, taste, and smell. I found that the inclusion of sight would enhance my design by providing a visual stimulus to attract and retain the user's attention. For activity 6, I created a timeline which illustrates how potential users may engage with my design, indirectly or directly. The ideal user would engage directly with my device by stopping and consciously creating melodies. So the instrument-like functionality of my design would retain the user's engagement. Another concept I've researched was elements of familiarity, a concept most famously used by Apple. In the very first iPad advertisement, they claimed, "It's unlike anything you've ever seen before, yet you already know how to use it." Essentially, this concept stipulates that our brain recognizes familiar design patterns and translates them into new situations. My design uses this concept through its use of metal strings to replicate a harp, which encourages users to engage with my device. Additionally, I also used inspiration from my context reviews, particularly the sidewalk harp, in its use of LED motion sensors and visual aesthetic, which was dynamic yet elegant, which I aimed to replicate in my own design. Context reviews also influenced my sound choice, which allowed me to move beyond the harp sound effects. I'll play a sample of the sound that my device would create now. Really relaxing and warm atmosphere while still retaining playful and encouraging play. Final concept, my target demographic was 18 to 35-year-olds who are social, outgoing, and extroverted. They would most likely be international students or tourists and enjoy the outdoors, and thus be likely to visit places such as South Bank. In conclusion, the final concept is that of an interactive harp-like handrail that responds to the movement and touch of users with LED light display. The dynamic shape and LED movement sensors initially attract attention, while the playful, instrument-like function of the handrail retains user engagement. Meanwhile, the sounds produced by my design aim to fade into the background as relaxing background music suitable for the context of a public space. Thank you for listening.